This medley is, I've been asked if I can still speak Malay or Indonesian. Yes, I can. So requested by Muhammad of the internet. I'll sing this for you. Is Cinta Jangan Kau Pergi from Sheila Majid. Ku sadari kesalahan ini yang membuat segalanya gelap jadinya. Oh, kasihku, ku harap kau mau memaafkan, menerima pengakuanku. Jangan kau diam lagi, ku tak sanggup menahan. Bicaralah kau sayang, jiwa ini tak tenang. Cinta jangan kau pergi, tinggalkan diriku sendiri. Cinta jangan kau lari, apalah arti hidup ini tanpa cinta dan kasih sayang. Yep, that wraps up my medley. I'm never doing that again. But thank you for putting it with me. Anyway, the other part of the dare that's suggested by the members of the public that I think I possibly can do is a love letter. And this is one that I found on Spotify, as they asked, is a quarantine lockdown love letter from a COVID-19 quarantine party as prescribed. Hey Ben, can you put the titles of the song there? So Ben's gonna copy and paste. This is the top 20 song titles. And yeah, without further ado, let's start this. I will just say that it's a generic generic name of nobody in particular. Okay, that's the title coming up right there. Nobody in particular. So just and this can also be replaced with the name of your own objects of affection as a template and insert as applicable. Just please be careful to recheck the name before you send, lest God forbid you send to the wrong person. Right. Every time I do this, it means there's a song title. I will just call it Baby. Hey baby, I'm writing to you alone in my room. Finally, I can take my mask off. Boy, I wish you were in my bed. Just thought I'd check on you. I got a sick feeling earlier. You sound like you're sick just now on the phone. I know you said, I believe I'm fine, but I hope you've taken some remedy. Maybe some cough syrup? Do you have a fever? I couldn't hear you. The line got cut off. Hope you're not unwell. If you don't get better, please see the doctor ASAP and keep me posted, okay? I miss you, baby. It's harder to breathe without you each day. Can't feel my face without you in my arms. You lurk dangerously in my mind always. I know it's a toxic time for all. And the government said we can't see each other for now. Sounds pretty antisocial, I know. But we've all got to come through this period staying alive, otherwise the kids don't stand a chance. I heard this dude on the train. He looked like somebody that I used to know. With his pair of dead eyes, went on a sicko mode saying that this was made in China. Well, it may be true, But everything that he was wearing was probably made in China, and he sure wasn't complaining about it. If only you were there, I could just feel the danger in your eyes. My one and only. You certainly are hot inside and outside. I'm not complaining. I'm one hell of a lucky girl. Do you think we might be able to meet, say, if we pick up a takeaway or something, if you don't stand so close to me? Can't stand being away from you for this long, thinking that we might be dead tomorrow. Shall I do this? Sorry, all this toxicity has gotten into me. Hey, can I get back to you? I heard a crashing sound at the back of the door. The falling was rather loud. Be happy, my love. They say a happy heart is the best remedy. I'll talk to you soon. Love always. Beep. Please insert your own name here. Thank you for listening. All right. Before we get into the Q&A, I shall refresh myself with some necessary beverage because I'm not doing a crash landing singing no more. I hope you all have a glass at hand yourself as well. What would you guys like to see next? Any book reading that you'd like to see? I think before we go into the Q&A, I have something to dedicate to my co-host. Nothing is more appropriate than reading a chapter with him as the character. So yeah, without further ado, it is a reading from chapter 34, The Not So Secret Garden. Are you listening out there? It was once again the universe versus Ben. After that episode of his missing pants during the video conference call with his lady boss and colleague, he thought the best course of action was to go for his annual run. These days we were all runners, whether or not we had previously been one. Anything to get out of the house. Right, East Coast Park, but no, the beaches were closed. Before he left for the park, my friend Ben consulted me on the proper decorum of frequenting a park. I said, first things first, mask, for sure. Mask, eh? Yeah, I got it somewhere from the community center, right? But I don't know where it is now. You know those YouTube masks made out of brass? Just in case you got one lying around, you could cut it in half and use. I suggested not very usefully. The alternative was those masks sold online specifically for fanatic runners, which look like the face guard of Batman's enemy, you know, like Tom Hardy's character in the movie The Dark Knight Rises. Ben said, goodness, I will do no such thing, of course. Ben informed me that someone had mailed him a book on jogging. It was inspiring. I asked how bored one had to be to read a book on jogging. Surely we all know how to jog? Anyway, seeing as the babes by the pool had not made an appearance in a month, and that Ben was newly single, Ben decided to go to a park. You know, his annual run is in. After all, they said exercise made people happy. Happiness is all the rage these days, with everyone on house arrest. At that stage, we were allowed to hop around happily in the park so long as we maintained a minimum 1 meter distance from one another and only went with people of the same household. Ben deliberated carefully and chose the botanical gardens. At that stage, we all had become park conservators too, and we could check crowd traffic on the N Park website. The website indicated a low crowd. Very good. His control freak inner voice thought best to arrive prepared. He had heard all about it and worked out a set of general rules for himself before departing for a park during this time of social distancing. To avoid head-on collision with anybody heading your way, jump as far as you can. Jump to the right, jump to the left, it doesn't matter. so long as you maintain distance from him, he wrote specifically. When encountering a runner, hold your breath. The droplets from the sweat reach 10 meters, or else seek alternative path. Spotted an X. Turn 180 degrees around and walk the other way. If all else fails, cover your face. If you see people you know, pretend you don't know them, or else both will be fined. By the way, this is the time when the circuit breaker where, yeah, everything's got to be very, very spick and span. Further notes for friends. If you see your mother-in-law, make a run for it. Best to abide by the rules, as Singapore is a fine city, and the lawmakers have taken it up a notch. 300 for the first offense and 1,000 for the subsequent one. Even going out with your own girlfriend in public would be one hell of an expensive date. But Ben was not going with a date. He reckoned if the hot babes by the pool were not going to make an appearance, then he was going to find them at the park. He managed to locate his workout gear. Oh, a little too tight. Maybe the dryer shrank it, but it still fit. Upon his arrival, he was greeted by the sight of two identically dressed young men being whisked away by officers. They were both clearly not observing the social distancing rule, and on top of that, were not wearing masks. And low crowd, it said, seemed to Ben that every Tom, Dick, and Harry and their dogs were at the botanical gardens. How was he going to keep a perpetual 1 meter distance from all those rapidly moving targets? He observed all the seats in the park had these X's marked on alternative seats. Big, and not the kind of X's he liked. Not 5 minutes in, and already he had to dodge 4 joggers. It was like a game of Pac-Man. Further, Ben had read somewhere, must have been the jogging manual, that the sweats of these joggers could still be traced in the air 4 to 10 meters behind them, along with the coronavirus, had they been silent carriers of the deadly virus. Not sexy. One coming up, swerved to the left. He nearly fell into a bush trying to dodge the man. He carried on jogging and spotted some attractive ladies in scanty workout gear by the swan pond. Ah, the view when one enjoyed nature. Ben's mood suddenly improved tremendously. At that moment, he could sense a runner right behind him, that huffing and panting sound and the heavy pounding of steps. Ben ran faster, but alas, that right ahead was his ex, and to his horror she was with her mother. Remain calm, he told himself. She hadn't spotted you. He took a decisive wobbly 180-degree U-turn, steadfastly sticking to his set of rules he prepared earlier. Back on safe zone, he pressed on as quickly as he could. Turned around and glanced once. Ah, to his relief, his ex and her dragon of a mother were no longer in view. Soon he got distracted by more attractive-looking ladies in midriff bearing tight lycra gear. He thought, why not live life in the fast lane? Nothing to lose. Treat it like a mask ball in the park, except it was surgical masks, not Venetians. Oh, you wretched coronavirus, you're cramping my style, Ben lamented inwardly. But he was going to give it his best. He gave a suggestive nod and a wink towards the ladies, announcing his glorious presence. Thanks to the virus, tomorrow may never come, so there was no time for inane posturing when it came to mating or any possibility of it. One accidental turn of the head at the 11 o'clock direction, clearly seen ahead, were his ex and her mother. They had somehow teleported themselves at a very unsafe 5-meter distance away, heading towards the taxi stand at the Tanglin Gate. 2 steps right ahead of him, a massive red jungle fowl suddenly reared its petrifying face. Ben and roosters had never been friends, but during his stint in the army or throughout his childhood. A stumble and a splash later, in a bid to avoid both his ex and the rooster, Ben found himself in the shallow koi pond. Lucky for him it was only knee-deep and not the swan pond and the murky turtle pond at the other parts of the botanical gardens, I remarked, later when told of his misadventure. The ladies and their workout gear certainly took notice, but most of all, the 2 ladies he was so keen to avoid. confronted by the sight of her lovely ankles as she stood peering above him on the wooden path. As he was about to heave himself up with as much dignity as he could muster, Ben heard that familiar British accent. "Hello, fancy meeting you here." It was certainly a jog to remember. Thank you for listening. Now we're off to the Q&A segment. Let's keep the questions coming in. For those especially who missed the first section of book release. Anything else that you guys would like to hear about how this book came about and whatnot before we wrap up for the day and enjoy our evening? Just looking at my props. I don't know where all these. Any more questions? No, I'm not singing a chapter. That was disastrous, you know. I'll say hi to everyone who's here. Hello, Ronnie. Hi, Ting Ting. Hey, Jack. Shanti. Gwyneth. See you later. Yes. Hendro, Lawrence. Mindy. Hello. Okay, Tonamgo have a question. What are common traps for aspiring writers? Gosh, you can't come up with a more difficult question, can you? I think that's really quite similar with no, that's another inspiration going. What are common traps for don't know, I'll get back to you. Oh, Eleanor. Hey, El. Is there anything you could actually miss about Circuit Breaker? Every hour is cocktail hour. Yes, it is. I'm waiting for another cocktail hour with you, babe. Sandra Satiano, how do you keep the inspiration going? Did you ever get stuck? Yes, definitely is. But I wrote that during the lockdown, and it was 7 weeks. Challenges of all sorts. I've got a day job during the daytime from 9 a.m. to like 6 p.m. So just have to keep going, write the frame, write the skeleton of the stories and talk to people, find ideas. What would be not boring? I think that's quite similar with, sorry, I'm so random. How did you come up with all the materials? Yes, Jack, I think that's quite, well, I think you're one of the inspirations, Jack. And yes, some of you here were featured in another name in the book. So you guys all are all my inspirations, as well as my own my experiences and pure imaginations. Or it could also be things I heard while out in the supermarket, perhaps, or things that I saw in the news. I still can't answer that common traps question. I think we'll go offline after. Thank you. Hejin Lee asking me to sing Imagine Dragons out. No, Lu Ting Ting, planning for the next book soon. Yes, it is currently in talk, and you will hear about it soon as well. There is a second book coming. So yeah. Any more questions? Living life in the fast lane before we wrap up for the day. Every hour is a cocktail hour. Oh yes, it was true. Indeed, it was. Every hour is a cocktail hour during lockdown. Did I ever get stuck? Yes, certainly I did. And oh, hello, that's my school friend from ages ago. Hello, Enamu. How long did it take from the time you decided to write the book to actually writing and having it published? Oh yeah, this is a very, very good question. So I submitted another manuscript actually, and it was not this book. It was another novel that I already wrote earlier, and I've been writing all these short stories on Facebook just to cheer you guys up. And I just submitted along to Marshall Cavendish. These are some, humorous short stories, trying my luck, and here we are. And it took, I think, about the original stories were the first 5 chapters in the book. So, like this one here are the first 5 stories on my family. So it's on family and panic buying, on family distancing, the quest for a hen, an oriental discovery, turmeric will save us all, and the supermarket, the modern jungle. There were the original stories I've submitted to the publisher, and they seem to think I'm funny. So here we are, about 7 weeks in total until editing. Any more questions I can answer? What is your writing process like? Oh, very good. Yeah, I would. I've got. I will write down by hand on paper, like notebooks, pages, sheets of papers. The skeleton of the idea. Some would make it into the chapters, some would not. As many ideas as possible, whichever that could come out in my head at the moment, and then I'll start writing it. But these notes that I make by hand are what I anchor my stories in, so that there's the ideas, there's something to refer to, and yeah, and afterwards maybe sometimes if I get the flow, then I can just write skeletons of say 2 to 3 or sometimes 5 of stories in a night, because I could only work from 9 p.m. to like 4 a.m. at that time, and then took another day to really sit down and put all these words together. So that's pretty much my writing process, and then I will edit that numerous times, countless times, until I thought that this is decent enough to be submitted to the publisher and my editor. Thank you, Melvin, for putting up with me. Any more? Well, if there is no more questions, then I would like to thank you. Thank you very much for joining me here today. I do hope that you enjoy reading the book as much. Oh, Eleanor O'Connor is asking, is there anything you actually missed about? No, I've already answered that. Actually missed about circuit breaker. Maybe part of a me time, like part of a slow down time. So yeah, well, it's true. Yeah, but yeah, before we wrap up and off on our merry way, on our very, very own cocktail hour for the evening for all of us. Oh, hang on. One more question from Jacqueline. Thank you, dear. What is my favorite chapter? There isn't one in particular, but quite a few that I quite like. I, in particular, like the supermarket, a modern jungle. I also, of course, love the chapter called Anna, because Anna was my grandmother, and when I wrote that, I cried for 6 hours remembering her, and still somehow we could always see humor, in the face of misery. Other than that, this chapter called In Eggs We Trust. The two ladies that, a bit of a spoiler, the two ladies that fell down from the steps of a cinema were me and my eldest cousin Sandra, who's here tonight. We fell down from a cinema because we wore a 14-centimeter wedge high heels, and we came in late, and we our seats were right on top of in row A, and it was dark, and she stumbled and she pulled me down, and we just went Humpty Dumpty all over the stairs. So that was actually me, and then the rest of the stories were my friend. Shall I say the name? But maybe not. Other than that, close to my heart, perhaps home-based learning, a survivor recounts her tale. So yeah, stories of challenges. Any more questions? If not, thank you very much for joining me tonight, and I do hope sincerely that you really enjoy reading the chapters, and it brings a smile to your day. As recommended, a story a day. You can put it wherever convenient. Hope it's relaxing, and also a kind reminder to be socially responsible. This ordeal is not over yet. I hope I'll see you on the other side, and I hope we will all come out of this in one piece. Together, we hopefully can do it. Yes. Oh, was the character inspired by your friends and family? Yes, of course. With several a mixture of friends and family, even neighbors. Well, thank you very very much, and wishing you a very good night, a very good weekend. Bye.